Hi guys, today I'm painting an illustration of a girl with wildflowers, and as usual I'm showing my entire process of creation while I talk about this and that. Recently I was browsing books on Amazon, and I always tend to check what other people are doing just out of curiosity, what trends are, what other artists are working on in my sphere. And I came upon a book about watercolor that looked offhand, it looked like watercolor from the thumbnail, but then I zoomed in on it. I looked at the cover, at the pages, and the book was like 300 pages long, which is a lot of art if you think about it. A lot of hours of work, years even, to create that many watercolor paintings. Then I started to look at the paintings in detail, and I noticed something. They looked almost too perfect, and they didn't really look like it was hand-painted watercolor. If you really look at it, if you have a trained eye, or even if you don't, you've seen enough watercolor paintings in your life to know what they should look like, the hand-painted ones. And you can tell that this looked a little bit off. I think you may know where I'm going with this. It turns out the book was filled with complete 100% AI, quote-unquote, watercolor. And this, as an artist who works every day painting, drawing by hand, as an artist, this made me a little bit angry that somebody would have the gall and the wherewithal and the judgment to publish a watercolor book, to name it so, and the book being complete AI. Nowhere on the cover does it indicate that it's AI art for fun or anything like that. It just pretends to be a legit watercolor art book to blend in with all the professional books that are available on Amazon, and we know there's a lot of them. To blend in and sort of like slide in there and maybe sell a few copies too. And my mind marvels at the audacity of the person who wanted to do that, to sort of capitalize on the popularity of art books and to like slide it in there and pretend to be one of them. And I saw some reviews on the book, and it was funny because the person didn't seem to make the connection, the reviewer. They didn't seem to make a connection this might be AI, but they were like, oh, these are perfect paintings, perfect drawings, but for some reason there's no way, no steps, nothing to show how the person achieved these beautiful, finished, marvelous watercolors. And it was funny because, I mean, in this day and age, it's weird that somebody wouldn't know how somebody can achieve this. Even if you have a free account, but I'm sure some people who produce these kinds of books, they pay whatever it costs, like $20 a month, to create these books in AI. And I don't necessarily have an issue with it. Of course, I have a little issue with it because I'm an artist and I do my own work. But when you pretend to be this level of artist and you pretend to instruct people how to create this art, but you're actually just scamming them in essence, that's where a real issue comes in, because you're deceiving people, you're blatantly deceiving people. Of course, you see a lot of AI coloring books nowadays, and I think people have gotten wiser to it because they can tell when AI has done the drawings versus a human. At this stage, we can still tell the difference, most of us. But yeah, they still get away with it. But to have the audacity to make an instructional type of book and to publish it and to claim that you know how to make these beautiful finished watercolors, when in fact AI did all of that. AI scraped the internet for existing watercolor art and made its own mush and then passed it off as your own, is another level of gall and scamming people. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I'm sure most of you can tell the difference and can tell a quality book versus AI, but just to be aware of things like that. Even just look at the pictures. Try to train your eye to see the difference. The descriptions can be AI. That's a dead giveaway that somebody didn't spend enough time to hone their own book, to create their own book. When I make my books, it takes me a few months at least, sometimes a half a year, sometimes a year. I try to put a lot of work into my books as much as I can, and then I edit, re-edit, adjust, readjust, because that's part of the process. That's part of making something that the reader or a person who wants to learn wants to see. They want to see a quality product. They want to see that the artist has spent time on perfecting their art, perfecting their book and instructions. And when you see somebody publishing, these books take maybe maximum a week for these people to make these AI books. So just be careful, be aware. Sure, I mean, I'm not saying there can't be a quality AI product out there, but do you really want to purchase something you know the person didn't create themselves? I know we can't get away from AI, and eventually it'll take over everything. But we can use our judgment, and we can support handmade things for as long as we can. And that's my 5 cents for today.